But so therefore, for Passover, you don't like to clean certain things. So in the olden days, when they had no choice,
Poverty forced them.
right? But today it's a little different.
Yeah, I mean,
You
most
can afford
cases.
to buy really
I
new.
suggest that most people do have separate Pesach Passover utensils, and they should get them. It's a one-time investment, and that's the way to go. Although there are certain items that people still do kosher, such as silverware, nice silver, and the Kiddush cups and things like that, and that can be done with boiling water. Anyone can really do that on.
Now you're telling us a new thing. There are certain things like cutlery, Kiddush cups, or what? What else falls into that category?
Well, if someone has a real favorite pot, which is really clean, maybe has straight walls without any lips and crevices, that can also be kosher with boiling water.
So something you can really make it clean. The first condition is it has to be absolutely clean.
Absolutely clean, right. Okay. Remove
nothing
handles,
not a speck, not nothing.
Right.
Okay, that's a smart idea. Unscrew the handle. You wash the screw, you wash every ridge and
And sometimes maybe a small torch to get into crevices to burn anything of substance out. If you see it smoking till it finishes flaring up, that's a sign probably that it's
there's
gone.
Nothing of substance there.
Although that might discolor your object, so you have to weigh what
is worth it. And how do you make it kosher then?
Then you would immerse it in boiling water. You would take a pot, or buy a koshering pot, a larger pot, a koshering pot, and fill it up with boiling water. And if you need to kosher that pot, you would first let the water, you would bring it to a nice rolling boil, and then put something heavy inside so that the water overflows, so that it koshers the outside walls.
Including the lips and everything.
Yes, and then you would refill it with water, bring it to a boil, this time not necessarily as high, just as much water as you need to immerse your object. And then you would immerse the item you want to kosher into the boiling water for a few seconds.
You would take your forks and spoons.
Yeah, you drop them in.
Advisable, put it in a colander, I guess.
A colander, if you have one, yeah, if you have one, or otherwise with the tongs, you can remove them. And then you put the object under cold water briefly, and that's the koshering procedure. And then you can use it for Pesach, or if it wasn't kosher, you can use it in a kosher situation.
All right. When we go into a kitchen, we have the oven, we have the utensils, and we have the pots and pans, but we have the rest of the kitchen, like counters, sinks, and refrigerators. We cleaned our oven. Wait, we didn't talk about the stovetop.
So if you have electric, all you have to do is make the coils glow red, and that is enough of a self-koshering procedure. The middle area, however, the area which is ceramic or paint on steel, should preferably be covered, or at least first pour boiling water over it, clean it well, boiling water, and preferably actually to cover it with foil, because especially if it's a ceramic compound, it may be, in Jewish law, ceramics are treated more strictly than other materials in that they absorb and don't necessarily expunge. That would be the best thing. That is as far as electric goes. For gas, it's basically the same thing. It's self-koshering. One could put 3 layers of foil on top of or maybe make a teepee. On top of the grates, or make a teepee with all the grates. Poke some holes. It's important. And then let it go for 10-15 minutes. That would be enough to kosherize the grates. So the grates
become basically red hot?
Yeah, or close to it. Yeah, it may be hard to get them red hot all over, but if you put enough foil over it and poke holes, you will get them red hot most of the time. And if it's a glass top, basically there's not much you can do. It's not necessarily the best thing as far as Passover goes, but if you have it already, you basically put on each burner on high and let it go for about 10 minutes. And you should not put anything hot down on the areas around those burners on Pesach.
Only at the burner
Only on the burner itself.
Okay, that's kind of touchy.
Well, yeah, and I don't think you should necessarily cover with foil around it. That's a bit of a fire hazard, from what I understand.
And stovetops in general is something that you can buy. You can buy a stovetop by itself.
That's true. I forgot one thing before. Putting the oven through the self-clean cycle, if you have one.
Yes, self-clean is the best.
Definitely kosher is it for Passover.
That goes like for 4 hours.
Usually you have a choice of 2 to 3 hours, but 3 hours.
The idea is that the oven should get as hot as...
It's over 900 degrees, and nothing is of substance when the process is over. Everything, it's all reduced to ashes.
Nothing left. Okay, now we're going to the sinks.
Okay, as far as the sinks go, it's like this. Basically, the best thing is one should not use the sink, preferably with water for 24 hours, with hot water for 24 hours. If you can't abide by that, at least overnight, it should be clean. Leave it. Don't use it in the morning.
Don't use it with chametz products.
Right, with chametz, or with anything hot. It has to be unused. And then one should generously pour boiling water all over the sink area, preferably over something hot like a rock, holding a rock with the tongs and pouring the hot water over it. But if you can't do that, just
or a hot metal piece.
Or a hot metal piece, but be careful.
The idea is you want to have the boiling water actually boiling while it touches.
On contact, hotter than it was ever.
But we did have to clean it first.
Absolutely.
We have to clean the sink.
Nothing can be koshered if it's not clean first.
Okay, we're talking about metal sinks only right now.
That is correct.
Stainless steel, very important.
Thank you.
We take a stainless steel,
clean it very well.
Steel wool, and whatever.
And preferably 24 hours should elapse. Then to very generously pour boiling water all over the sink, down the drain, maybe a little ammonia or bleach down the drain, and that should finish the process for that.
Now the ammonia and the bleach, it's good to point out.
Not together, right?
Well, that's number one. Number two, when you put the stuff down the drain, the idea is if there will be a backup, if there's some chametz in the pipe down there, and it backs up, it may render your sink chametz-dik. But when you put in the bleach,
you cancel any taste.
You render, not only, you make it poisonous.
Oh, okay, make it poisonous.
And once you make it poisonous, you can't eat it. It's not considered of any value, right? Okay, so we took care of the sinks. Now, the other types of sinks.
Plastic or ceramic or all those things are not kosherable for Pesach. One should clean them well with chemicals and then cover them, or buy a sink special Passover sink.
They have special sinks that you insert, and
if you live in an area where you can get one, otherwise you can just cover with foil, aluminum foil, and.
So in other words, you don't want any of your pots to come in direct contact with the sink that was used all year round.
Correct.
So stainless steel we can clean. I know what I do. I clean the stainless steel and I put an insert in. I was very lucky because we had a hammer that broke and the whole top came off. It works very well. With the plier, you can hold the hammer. It's glowing red.
Oh, that's you pour boiling water over that?
That's what I do.
Hammerhead, yeah.
I have my kids help me.